Good afternoon, this is Dan, and I'm at the, well, I'd say the fig patch, but let's call it the Blue Fig Fruit Farm. So this is my first video here that I'm making from the orchard. And so, pardon the mess, I've got to do some mowing, but I've got basically, so what we have is 4 rows of figs. The rows are about 125 feet long. They're 15 feet apart. Every 15 feet I've got some apples and some peaches. The other lines we have pears, pawpaws, some cherries, plums. And so we'll focus here on the figs. And like I say, I've got to get out here and mow. It's been a challenge. We don't live here at the house yet. It's still under construction. But we'll be here in a month or two, and then we'll be able to devote a lot more time to weeding and care of the orchard. So I'll just kind of focus on what we've got going on. We've got the 20-inch pots on a drip irrigation on a timer. I run it about, let's see, probably once a day at 8 o'clock. It's set it for 15 minutes. And I'm using spray stakes that put out, I believe, 2.5 gallons an hour, maybe three gallons an hour. I can't remember. So what is that? A little bit more than a gallon a day per fig, with an injector that gives me feed. As you can see, I've got some air layers set. This is Ibiza Verdal, my Borgesat Negro Ramada, my Day Trace displays. Now I have the valve turned off because I'm going to be doing some hand watering, but this is one of my favorite figs. It's August 4th and they're ripening up nicely. I got to pick these, or the birds will do it for me. But you can see I've got some weeding to do. This is Regado del Solento. Every branch is variegated nicely. Sometimes they will revert, but this one is one of my plants. I have a couple of different Regado del Solentos, but there's a nice, interesting double fig. Borda Barraquer, White Madeira 1. Lots of different figs. Lots of ones I've had for a long time. I've given away, gotten back, so they're smaller. Bertolino, I haven't tasted that one yet. I've never sold that one. I really, there's some exceptions, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never sold something until I've fruited it yet, but I haven't fruited that one yet. It definitely looks true to type, but I don't like to cut on things until I know that they're true in one way or another. Either I fruited it or I've gotten it from a really reliable source. Not to say that that source isn't reliable, it's just you pick and choose what you really want to do. Calderona, got a couple air layers set on that one. Eve's Black Cherry, that gave me a couple Breba. The main crop is still holding on, so other San Pedro figs are dropping their mains, so this one's not dropping it yet. Col Noir, Socorro Black, my Smith fig. This brown look is probably because of my watering. Either I'm too wet. The conditions are definitely a lot different here than they are at the old place where I had them. It's out in the open. They get full sun all the day long. That's really the reason why I started this project, is because where we were at, we weren't getting enough sun. I was getting about 6 hours of sun, and it was just driving me nuts. So I've got other people in Michigan that are ripening figs that I can't. So I really wanted to give these plants as much sun as I could, to really be able to fully evaluate them. Here's one that we'll talk about a little bit more. This one's called Cessac, or Cessac. It's a Fig de Monde variety. I've had that one since, looks like 2022, and I've got one fig on it. And I set an air layer on the top just to top it and make it bush out a little bit more. Like I say, I haven't tasted this one yet, but interestingly enough, there was a gentleman on FigBid a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was listing his air layers. The Traveling Gardener is his name. Unbelievable quality, very nice plants. Check him out. I think he's got a Facebook page. He sold me an air layer of Cessac that already had figs on it. So the leaves look the same, but it definitely had more figs. So what I want to do is I want to taste this one. I'm going to plate it up, and we're going to do a real quick review on Cessac. So I've got my main plant over there and my new plant here. I don't have a Smith to compare it to, and the other one that I've heard compared to Smith is Ben's Green Greek. I picked that one up in California on my California fig adventure last year. Actually wearing the same shirt that I did last year, so not on purpose, but it's growing quite nicely. It's right here. It's got a little fig mosaic virus, but the new growth looks really healthy and happy. It does have a fig on it. I could pick that one. Let's pick that one. Like I say, the conditions out here are brutal. Things get a lot of wind. You can see the scarring on the fig. But the leaves on this one, I don't know that I'll plate this one up. It's not very pretty, but the leaves, 5 lobes. I've heard some people compare it to Smith, but I don't know. I think it's a little different. So let's see, there's another one down there, another one up here. This one I started in the greenhouse though, so I had a greenhouse. We took that down as we prepared to sell the house. We had to take down our small greenhouse, and so not sure what we're going to be doing for next year on that, but this, to be fair, was started earlier in a greenhouse, so it's not really a true comparison. So these figs that are ripening now may not be really like a true representation, so that's why I haven't really talked about it that much. So so yeah, let's grab that Cessac, and we will plate it up, weigh it, and then we'll do a review. Let's grab a good leaf. See, his leaves are really tiny. The plant was really healthy, really shipped well to me, packed nicely. So again, if anybody has any reservations about buying from a relatively new seller, I think he does a really good job, so a shout out to him. Let's grab a leaf and a fig, and we will plate it up and do the review. All right, I'm back at the golf cart here. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. I'm really tasting someone else's fruit. So I didn't grow it, but it looks pretty accurate, and I'm sure somebody will tell me if it's not. I picked a small leaf because I got a small plate. I didn't want to pick that big beautiful leaf off because the plant's just growing, so I want to keep as much space on growing space or photosynthesis surface area that I can. So I picked a small leaf, and I'll plate this up and go from there. All right, we got the figs. We got them plated up. I forgot about the green Greek in my pocket. I squashed it. I'm sorry, guys. You're not gonna get to hear much about this one. I squashed it. All right, sorry. Cessac, French fig from Fig de Monde. And then because it's a French fig, I have my father-in-law here, Ron Basset. Basset is a French name, right?
Bon major, si. I mean, oui.
Yep. And you're what, French Canadian, something like that?
Canadian French.
Canadian French, French Canadian,
Yep.
one of those two.
French,
And Shawna, my wife. So what we're going to do is we're going to do
my daughter.
just a random like tasting. Now, to be honest, like I said, I didn't grow this fig. I don't have you know, my stamp's not on it because I didn't grow it technically. I've been growing it for 3 weeks. I bought the air layer in from Traveling Gardener, so, but I wanted to taste it this year. It's driving me nuts. It's been 3 years since I've seen this fig and read about it, heard about it from the fruit nut. Everybody's going crazy about this fig. Everybody wants this fig. It's becoming a little bit more common now. Let's taste it. So, Ron, go ahead. I'm gonna let you have the honors.
Anyone?
Taste it. I want your honest opinion. Have I prompted you on what to say at all or anything?
Not at all.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Any side that you want. Probably not that one. We want you to get a really good representation. Let's probably grab that one, or that one. Yeah. This green one wasn't really that ripe.
No, I can eat the shell.
You can eat the whole shell. Yes. So you can see he's an amateur. He said shell.
the skin.
The skin. There you go. Okay, Shawna, you
very
can.
Sweet, very honey-like.
Honey. Okay. Any berry at all, or is it all honey?
Somewhat berry, somewhat like almost blueberry.
Blueberry.
Very, very nice sweet taste to it. That's just my opinion. Maybe blackberry. The only difference is you don't taste or feel the seeds at all. It's
No.
very, very pleasant. Very nice to swallow.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm amazed.
It's really thick. It's thick,
What do you mean thick?
like
So Ron, you haven't had any figs yet this year, have you?
Not this year.
Okay. And Shawna, you've had enough figs to know.
Mhm.
Could you compare this to one, or would you say it's a 1 to 10? What would you call it?
I would say this is probably a 9.
Okay, it's a
It's
good
really
one.
thick, really jammy feeling. There's not a lot of crunch. I didn't feel a lot of crunch in it.
No, not at all.
Um,
Very, very tasty, very smooth.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say
Sticky.
I was gonna say 8, but 9 sounds good too.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
So I let them have the best pieces, but that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It has a decent amount of berry. Again, like you said, Ron, no seed crunch really.
No seed crunch at all.
Sweet,
very
a little bit of berry. I can see why people maybe compare this to Smith fig. You don't have any Smiths in your lineage, do you?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
We have plums in our family. No, seriously.
All right. Well, who wants that? Who
I-
wants that
I
other
do.
half?
I like the lighter color one. Looks like it might be tastier to me. Maybe not. We'll see.
That one's not really that ripe, but we'll see.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That one's not ripe. I picked that green one a little bit too quick.
I mean, you can still taste. Ooh, you can still taste good berry inside, but it's not. It's
Is
not
it-
ripe on the rind part of it.
Yep.
Is this the other half of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not as tasty as the
Yep.
last one.
Yep. You got to make sure it's
Yep.
really good and
Gotta be
ripe
ripe,
and
yeah.
has a little bit of brown color. If you
You
pick
can-
them when they're green on the outside, they're just not going to give you that flavor. So,
You can tell that it wasn't quite right.
okay, so Cessac, however you say that. Somebody can correct me. Say in the comments below what you think.
She said.
But what would you say? 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. What would you give
Last
it,
one
Ron?
I just ate.
Well, no, the first one.
The first one I'd give it at least an 8.
Okay, so you got an 8 from Ron and a 9 from Shawna, and I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
I say the only reason I say 9 is because I like the crunch of figs, and I like
And you didn't see any crunch in it?
I didn't feel much crunch in it, and I like a little bit more of I guess intense berry flavor.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I give it a 9.
All right.
I said 8 because I don't have the experience that you two have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do understand that you guys have done this for a long time and you know what to expect.
Yep.
I didn't, but I still loved it. I could eat 100 of those and would be very happy. It'd be like a meal for me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Well, this is Dan, Shawna, Ron from the Blue Fig Fruit Farm. Thanks for watching. Have a
Thank you.
great Sunday.
We little crunch.
It's got the what do you call it? The rubbery feeling.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We did. Okay, so we did eat that Ben's Green Greek. Actually, I had a little nibble. We all had a nibble. So what do you think of the Ben's Green Greek?
I give it a 10 because it has exactly what I like in the figs. I like the crunch. It has intense crunch, intense berry flavor. It was like strawberry jam, and it has that leathery. When you bite into the skin, the skin was good.
And I have to apologize. I'm a hard sell. I give it a 9 only because the skin seemed a little bit more tougher, kind of stayed
Like
in the
chewy.
mouth. More
Well, it did roll around in my pocket for 20 or 30
well, that
minutes.
probably
It's
had
chewy.
that had a lot to do with it. But as far as taste is concerned, I say taste-wise, it has to be a 10. definitely has a strawberry
Okay.
jam taste to it. I love it. Very
I
nice.
wasn't planning on actually taste testing that Ben's Green Greek because, like I said, I think early in the video, I started that one in the greenhouse early in the season, so it may not be its proper ripening time. And it was a pretty ugly fig, so.
Plus it was in
But
your pocket.
sometimes, and it was in my pocket. But sometimes the ugliest figs are pretty good figs. So
I'll tell
anyway,
you, it reminded, the way I like the texture of it, I shouldn't have said leathery, I should have said more chewy, the skin. But CDD Grease Knot,
mm-hmm.
that's one of my favorite figs.
That's
and
what
that
it reminded
gave
you of?
me it kind of reminded me of that. The
Okay.
way it was kind of dried up like that, and not
Yeah.
dried up, but just. Yeah, it was,
Well, and also to be fair, it was pretty much, it was a little bit more ripe too
Mhm.
than the last fig that you tasted. Even though the first half of the Cessac was pretty ripe, wasn't as ripe as that one. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's lots of nuances. You could probably taste 10 figs and they'd all taste slightly different. So,
Even if they came off the same tree.
yep, for sure.
It's true.
Okay, again, thanks for watching.